Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.
It's time for the Bonnie Sher Show, a whirlwind of wit, wisdom, celebrity, and the boomer life. With a little bit of this and a lot of that and so much more you don't want to miss, here's Bonnie.
Well, hello there, and thank you for joining us in our chat, for tuning in, calling in, and joining this wonderful day. First of all, I would like to thank Wayne Cobham for my super duper hero theme song. I am Bonnie Sher, and I am your host through the world of entertainment, through the great boomer generation, as well as the type 1 diabetes community. I'm really excited about today's show. I'm excited a lot, but finally something excited me this week, and it is that I have with me today absolute celebrity makeup guru maven person. That would be Rudy Calvo. And my T1 co-host is Michael Cole, who is a member of the T1D community. If you have a question or you have a comment, please give us a call. My call-in number here is 323-843-2826, or you can follow the pound sign on Twitter, # BSHER Radio. So, now, why don't you go ahead and settle in, please, and say hello to my first guest, Mr. Rudy Calvo. I paid a lot of money to bring those people in. What are you giving them the cutoff sign?
Oh, they're making me blush.
Oh, well, you're adorable when you blush, too. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, let me give you a little background about my friend Rudy. Yes, Rudy, among many other incarnations, the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that Rudy has worked with clients such as, and there is a list, so I'm going to read from it, Angela Bassett, Denzel Washington, Etta James, Queen Latifah, Jill Scott, I love Jill Scott, Patty Austin, Blair Underwood, my Usher, Tony Braxton, Chico DeBarge, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Marlena Shaw, Nancy Wilson, Michelle Phillips, Lynn Whitfield, Ruth Brown. Wow, Miss Ruth. Patti LaBelle, Natalie Cole, Will Smith, Mary Wilson. And speaking of Wilsons, we also know that you worked with Spanky Wilson, who was here on our show not too long ago. So what do you do in your spare time?
Sleep.
Do they let you sleep? Does anybody ever call you for an emergency eyelash? Or
We call it emergency beats. Or as Mary Clayton would say, baby, can you come over and put a little pencil in my eyes? Which means she wants full face. But she'll say, put a little pencil in my eyes.
Have you ever worked with anybody, well, this is sort of a strange question, but that you just knew they weren't going to be happy no matter what you did, as brilliant as you were?
When I was first starting out, I was working with this actress. I don't remember her name. And I was just starting out, and I was so proud that I was working with some actress. And I finished her makeup, and she looked in the mirror, and she went, warmth, warmth, warmth. I need warmth. This is not going to work. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I didn't know what she meant by warmth. So
Did you just throw like some brown on her and make her very
I
warm?
tried to please her. But she wasn't happy. But I learned.
So when you do these shoots, are you usually brought in by? Do photographers have their faves, or are you a part of the talent that is being shot? Who brings you in?
It varies. The best way to come in is star requests.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how my whole career has been, where somebody requests you. Sorry for a little shaking here. I have Parkinson's, and so this is more of a shake of excitement, so not a bad one. Excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited that you're here, and your shaking is just more for me to love about you.
Yeah,
So I didn't need, Now, I also understand that you've worked on a number of album covers.
As a kid, I loved collecting records and 45s and albums, and it was always my dream to see my name on somebody's record. And at this point, I've lost count how many I've done. But that was always a joy anytime I worked on doing album covers, because I love the music. Music is the reason that I really got into doing makeup. It gave me an excuse to be around all these great artists that I've loved through the years, and I collected their music as well.
And so when you listen to music now, I know personally I listen to different types of music for different moods. I have my happy music, which is, I can pretty much, if I'm happy, I'll listen to anything, It's when I'm really down. Do you tend to flow through your music? I mean, music is sort of, to me, like lighting. It's just so much a part of it.
Music is probably the most important thing in my life to me. I live and breathe music every day. And it's not just one particular type of music. Like, it could be garage rock today. It could be the blues tomorrow. It could be 60s. It could be something current.
Were you ever a musician? Did you ever
Frustrated.
play? Which instrument frustrated you the most?
The fact that I didn't play any instrument.
Oh, that would be frustrating.
Yeah, but I always felt like...
what about singing? Did you like to sing?
yes.
Yeah, I still do, I bet.
In the shower.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it. I love singers.
Yeah, we are a wacky
That's
breed.
why I love you so much.
Oh, you're a dear.
Well, and answer your question too, I think I cut you off about when I worked on different sessions. Sometimes it was the photographer, sometimes it could be the PR person, but for the most part it was always, like a recommendation. Star request was always, like I said, the best way to go, because then they'd use you constantly on everything that they did.
I think that when you do somebody's face, it's more than a palette. I mean, there's got to be that you want to bring some life to the eyes. And that's something that a wonderful makeup artist like yourself can do. I mean, you can have, I've seen, just dead faces come to life. And they're almost, it's like they're working with it. It's a way to make you, I don't know, it just adds a magic. I mean, it is. I mean, there wouldn't be $1 billion a minute industry if it didn't add something. No.
Doing makeup, I think, is just a drop in the well as to, like, the comfort that you bring to an artist before they're going on, the calming down or whatever. Not that everybody's like that. I'm pretty mellow. And
I was going to ask you about that. Do you talk to your clients while you're working on them?
Depends who it is. I prefer, like, quiet. It's a very spiritual process to me, because when you're that close to doing makeup, you're actually touching somebody's skin. How many people do you walk down the street and actually touch? Because there could be a stranger in your chair, and you're actually physically touching them. But it's almost like being led into the creation. If you keep your mind open, you could hear that little voice inside saying, use the brown. No, don't use the blue. And when you deviate from that, forget it. You messed up.
Well, it's trusting your own little inner voice, which I think is a pretty much universal great rule.
Creativity. All creative processes, I feel, go that way. But it's very rewarding. Like, you spoke of Spanky Wilson. When I saw Spanky sitting over here next to you, and I looked at her and I said, wow, she looks great. Because, I'm the one person that was there at the beginning of the process, and it's fulfilling to see the end result.
Isn't it something? Yeah.
She said hi, by the way.
She's such a doll. We're going to have her back on again and make sure that she's working and everybody knows about it.
She deserves it.
Well, you deserve a lot yourself, my friend.
Thank you.
You are such, I mean, you're behind people. You get excited for them. Tell us some more about what is comprised in your day. We know about the makeup, and you've done that for
35 years.
I was going to say since you were born.
True.
That was about 35, 36 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what excites you? Do you still get? I mean, I know hairdressers who said, "I've been twisting that hair for 40 years, honey. I don't get excited anymore." Do you still get excited?
Oh, sure, because it's always different. It's always a different
that's
creation.
what I would hope.
It's always told.
I never went to that. Back to that guy said it was boring. I said, if he's got me in his chair and I'm boring.
I look at it as a blessing because it's nothing I ever studied, nothing that I ever planned on doing. It just manifests.
What did you plan on doing?
I wanted to work in the music industry.
Well, you did.
I know exactly, but I wanted to be that singer. I wanted to be that manager. I wanted to be that songwriter. I wanted to be the person working in the record
Yeah,
company.
but look whose career lasts longer. Just saying.
No, I know. But
Just saying.
I took the right. I did the right thing.
I think so.
Because so many times I'd see my friends, losing their jobs at the record companies and stuff, or sometimes,
Or the whole company.
Yeah, exactly. Or working on a video shoot and thinking, God, I'm getting paid the type of money maybe my father didn't make in an entire week in one day. And that's in the heyday when there were really budgets were much
How
higher.
about in an hour?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But then people want to look good, so
Right. If anybody's offering you a bargain on your makeup, trust me, girls.
But you know
don't
what?
go.
I have to say, every dollar's not a good dollar. So there's many times I turned down artists because if I had a funky encounter with them and stuff, I didn't want to be bothered. So I didn't take every job.
That's your own integrity. I mean, that's who you have to live with is you.
Sure.
I can certainly understand that.
Yeah, no.
And nobody ever said no to me. Yay.
Not yet.
Not yet, right? It's early yet.
The day is still young.
But I'm not easy now.
But you look
easy.
good. By the way, you're wearing that lipstick, whatever. What is your lipstick today? I love it.
Isn't this fun?
Very pink. Fuchsia. Very blue roses.
I'm into a good blue rose.
Yeah, that reminds me of Blue Roses from '78.
Boy, we do go back a while, don't we?
A little bit.
We do go back. So what do you want to do now? I love that he took his shoes off. Here, wait, I'm taking mine off too. You can't see what's going on. Actually, both of us are naked from the waist down.
She's going to play footsies with me. Watch.
If I could get my shoes off, I would. So what I started to ask you about is what's kind of floating your boat now?
Well, I spent a lot of time looking at vintage pictures and stuff. Since I was about 10 years old, I've been collecting photographs and memorabilia. And I got to the point of saying, what am I going to do with all this stuff? You're dead and gone, your family throws it in the trash. But it's taken a life of its own, especially after I stopped traveling as much as I used to. I needed something to do at home. And picture collection has taken a life of its own, where it's being leased out to TV shows, CD covers, books, all kind of stuff. It's amazing how things just...
It's amazing because you make them amazing. It didn't just come to you. I mean, that's you. You're the amazing one.
I got a call from a friend of mine who's now my rep for photos, Gary Chantley. And he goes, hey, brother, you got any pictures of Darlene Love and the Blossoms? They're getting ready to induct Darlene to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I said, do I? And that started our relationship. And now he reps all my pictures and takes care of the business. And I can sit at home and be happy.
Well, I vote for anybody who allows you to stay home and be happy. I need one of those myself.
I don't need to be slinging out in the streets anymore.
Do you like to sing? Of course you do.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Have you ever done backup on any of the albums you've worked on?
Yes, I did.
Well, I knew that.
Saida Garrett. It's only rock and roll, and I like it.
You're kidding.
No.
That's exciting. I love that.
That was exciting, only because she is the only one that ever had the nerve, because I can't sing worth a lick, really.
Oh.
But she was the only one that was friend enough to invite me, so I was like, I'm not passing up on this. I was right there in the front line. I think RuPaul was on that session, too. It was a group of us, about 5 of us.
Do you remember Charles Wright in the Watts 103rd Street?
Do your thing.
It's your thing. I was in on that session. I was recording at the same studio at the time.
I just saw him a couple of weeks ago, actually.
You know, he's come out with a new book.
Yes, yes.
I need to get a call into him and see what he's doing. I think the last time I saw him, I was 19 years old. So what was that? About 10 years ago?
Wow. Yeah, he was at the Catalina Bar and Grill checking out Robbie Montgomery of the Ikettes.
I'm so sorry I missed that.
And he was there in the audience.
Oh, he was in the audience. He didn't perform.
No, but he was there. But I did have to get on my knees and bow down because he's truly a legend of LA music.
And what was the other song?
It's your no.
Respect yourself. It ain't what you're doing when you're doing what you do.
Express yourself.
Express yourself. That was the big one.
And Love Land.
Love Land was the second one off.
Do Your
that
Thing.
song.
See, I first got in on a song called Do Your Thing. It was a very big hit here in LA. And it was funky, still funky.
Do you remember the old Gold Star Studios?
Of course.
That's
Phil Spector.
and it was owned by Stan Ross.
Right.
He had just done Inagata Davida there. Yeah, that was a lot of history.
I was
in
listening
that,
to Iron Butterfly last week.
I can't say that. I was never a rock and roller. I mean, I feigned it because so I would have a social
It's
life.
funny because now it's like, yeah, I'm getting older. Last week I went to this major garage rock thing, and every song I play, I go, I used to buy these 45s as a kid. I go, what was wrong with me? Because I remember my mother, even like early on, I'm buying a lot of Ike and Tina Turner. My mother would be like, who is that woman screaming like that? It was like, our son's become a delinquent in this country. But I was feeling it. I mean, it's like, I don't know why, or 10 years old collecting records like that and just feeling it in my soul.
At about 10 years of age, I bought my very first 45.
Which was?
She loves you,
Yeah.
yeah. It's because I was trying to pretend that I was a teen. Or because what I was listening to was Broadway. I knew the Beatles. I tried to hop on that train because I wanted to be able to assimilate to the other kids my age. I never could do that. But now in retrospect, I listen to everything. But when I was a kid, nah. I knew that there were these other groups. It wasn't until R&B and Motown that I started. I mean, that really grabbed me.
I was totally into I think the Beatles was the first thing I really got into. And then, of course, like you just said, the Motown came along and it was all over.
Yeah, that took me over.
It was over. The Miracles, Marvelettes, Martha Mandel, Supremes, Four Tops. Couldn't get any better to this day.
To this day.
From
We
Motown.
agree on something else. Well, before we end the interview,
What?
yeah, I know.
It's all right.
There are these other people that keep hacking me. Would you let our audience know? I know that I found an actual treasure trove of information about you on Facebook. So is that how you would best recommend that
Yes.
people can see your work? And Rudy's last name is Calvo, spelled Calvo. If you go to K, you won't find him.
No.
I found that out.
Calvo.
Calvo.
And here's a shout out to all the Calvos in Costa Rica.
Well,
Pura vida.
I think I kind of just gave you the Italian Calvo.
And it was very Italian.
That's so much.
Calvo.
Calvo.
Or as Americans say, Calvo. Rudy Calvo. It's,
Or the Chicagoans, Calvo.
yeah.
It's like being an asshole.
I have one friend that calls me Calvacito.
Cavralito.
Now, that was very Italian, what you just did.
It was in another lifetime when I was a bigger girl then. Are you a tweeter? Do you
No,
do
I
the
don't
Twitter
tweet.
thing?
No, I don't twit.
Okay, don't tweet to me.
I haven't figured out how to twit.
Je ne tweet pas.
It's just too much. I mean, I like my life simple. Even like people cuss me out because I don't carry my cell phone with me. But what the hell do I have to be on the phone all the time?
I appreciate
And
that
I hate
about
this.
you.
I have a problem with this. People walking on the street like this.
And they're walking with friends, and don't you kind of
Can't
wonder?
take it.
Don't you wonder if they're maybe like showing off, and there's they're writing to one another? Here, look, talk. You know,
That drives me crazy.
well,
It's all good.
I'd like to hear about some more things that make you happy and make you crazy, and we're going to have to do that on your
Part
next on part 2. Ladies and gentlemen, please say thank you to my dear friend Rudy Calvo.
Thank you.
Well, that was very nice. And before we go to break, Rudy, it was a pleasure to
It was
have you
fun.
here. A true pleasure. You are listening to the Bonnie Sher Show. Please join the conversation. You're so shy. Call us at 323 843 2826, or you can follow us on our hashtag, which is hashtag BeShareRadio. Coming up next, or coming up, will be a shout out from my soapbox, which is my take on who's to be applauded. And my shout down is to those I feel should be horribly ashamed. But in the meantime, let's go to break with a wonderful song performed by an artist named Natalie Toro. She has a splendid voice. It's a beautiful song. And today, this is my song for all of you. So please, take it away.
In a very unusual way, one time I needed you. In a very unusual way, you were my friend. Maybe it lasted a day, maybe it lasted an hour, but somehow it will never end. In a very unusual way, I think I'm in love with you. In a very unusual way, I want to cry. Something inside me goes weak. Something inside me surrenders. And you're the reason why. You're the reason why. You don't know what you do to me. You don't have a clue. You can't tell what it's like to be me looking at you. It scares me
Good afternoon.
so that I can hardly speak. In a very unusual way, I owe what I am to you. Though at times it appears I won't stay, I'll never go. Special to me in my life, since the first day that I met you. How could I ever forget you once you had touched my soul? In a very unusual way, you've made me. Oh.
back. Welcome back to the Bonnie Sher Show. And joining me in this segment is Michael Cole, a member of the T1D community from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. Hello there, Michael.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, Michael. So,
Good afternoon, Bonnie.
hello there. Tell us, it looks like it's chilly up there.
No, it's not too bad. It's about 50 degrees right now. We're quite lucky it's not raining today. We've had a month straight of it. So the sun just ducked behind the clouds, so I'm a little sorry about the lighting.
You're such a pro. And all we want down here in Southern California is a little bit of rain.
Well, I'll try and ship you some if you like.
I would appreciate that.
No
Michael,
promises.
Michael, we know that you're no promises. It's like life. Michael, we know you're a T1 diabetic. Could you please take a little time and share your story with our audience?
Well, I'm actually now classified as non-diabetic.
I should have had.
I had what's called an islet cell transplant just a little bit more than 2 years ago now, and completely insulin free. I don't test my blood sugars anymore. I pretty much eat what I want. I'm just like a normal person, as close as I could ever possibly be. And I've tested the limits to an extreme, from extreme physical activity without having anything to eat, with my blood sugar actually going up a little bit, which is normal,
Absolutely.
to eating a huge meal, cake included, and having my blood sugars drop, which was quite, at first, almost scary to me. I thought things were wrong, but turns out that's what normal people are like.
It's hard to figure that one, right? Yeah,
Well,
I was wondering about that with the manufacture of glucagon.
well, the liver is a giant bag of sugar, we'll say, for the lack of better terms. And, people that don't have diabetes draw from that little reserve when you need that extra kick, if you get working extra hard at doing something and you skip a meal or what have you. So you have that reserve energy. It's like a reserve tank on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And as diabetics, and a lot of people know, we don't have the triggers to get that liver to release the sugar into your system when you need it. So when you go low, there's no backup system for us, which is very dangerous, of course. And then, of course, with these new islets, which absolutely love me, when I when I eat too much sugar, whatever, they kick into overdrive. I'm one of the best cases in the entire world for this transplant that's taken place to go with the results.
That's a phenomenal thing. And it's been 3 years or 2 years? I couldn't hear.
October 28th was my second anniversary.
My goodness.
Yeah,
And
it's
had you started to face any complications, Michael, prior to your transplant?
Yes, neuropathy was starting to plague me.
Are you talking peripheral neuropathy, fingers and hands kind of thing?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, fingers and feet. Yeah.
My diet, my stomach I was having a hard time knowing when to eat and when not to eat. I never knew when I was hungry, and the bad part about that was I was skipping meals. Some of the other things were my kidneys were starting to deteriorate. Actually, not too bad, but I was down to about 80% function. And
And I'm sorry, let me ask you a question. How long had you been a diabetic prior to the transplant?
44 years.
44 years.
Yes.
So, amazing. I'm sorry.
Well, I've always looked after my diabetes well in my later years because I became one of the first diabetics with type 1 diabetes in Canada to earn his class 1 driver's license to drive tractor trailer. And it was very important that I looked after myself. And I had a routine and a very good doctor when I was a kid. I learned how to control it. But as time went by, especially with these new insulins, I lost a lot of ability to tell whether I was high or low, and I developed quite a severe case of hypoglycemia.
Yeah, can we just
Unawareness.
pause right there? You just brought up a very interesting topic, and I've thought this, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. Tell me what you think about these new insulins, other than the fact that they're ridiculously expensive. Are they worth it, or do we go back to regular?
No, I don't know if I shared that little article that I wrote and put together about these new insulins. They haven't had much time to test them out. I don't like them. I think they're dangerous. One of the side effects is they create hypoglycemia unawareness.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're actually controlled with a form of E. coli to regulate the speed of which they work. And I actually, when I started developing and became aware of the hypoglycemia unawareness, I switched back to the beef and pork that we could get in Canada. And that kind of slowed things down a little bit. But, after 44 years of type 1 diabetes, it caught up to me, and it caught up to me in a very dangerous and bad way. I'm extremely lucky to be alive. I've been pronounced 3 times. Found in a parking lot, laying there with a blood sugar of absolute 0. I actually collapsed at the hospital. I don't know why I was there, but collapsed in the middle of the hall with an absolute 0. And so things were getting pretty serious for me,
and now,
as well as a lot of diabetics.
And now that you've had the transplant, what have you seen happen with those aspects which were known as complications? Your kidneys.
Oh my goodness!
Is it possible once? My question is it possible once one does have a new happy supply of islet cells to perhaps reverse the complications, or is it that it will stop them? What happens to the complications?
And I'm going to be brutally honest. I'd like to say yes to everything. Just recently, as you know, I've had some problems with my eyes. Mm-hmm. What's happened is anybody that's diabetic knows how important it is to check and keep appointments with your ophthalmologist, not an optometrist, but a specialist.
Absolutely.
And what happened was years and years ago, probably 25 years ago, I had a lot of laser surgery because I was a bad diabetic when I was younger. And things were going pretty good. And one of the side effects from having this, your blood sugars normalize, is everything tightens up. So I'm returning to normal, but it causes bleeding in your eyes sometimes. And that's just everything's getting back to the way it's supposed to. So you're healing yourself, but there's little quirks to that. That's the unfortunate part with me. I just had a very big bleed in one of my eyes. It scared the dickens out of me, but I've been into the doctors a couple of times now, and I've completely recovered from it. And I'm going to have one more laser surgery to get rid of the pesky little guys that might leak. And that's it. My eyesight has actually improved. as far as everything else goes, I have more feeling in my hands. I had lost the feeling in one of my toes. I've regained that. I'm able to tell when I'm hungry and when to stop eating. My kidney function has returned to 100%. That's 2 short years of this. The body is an amazing machine.
You
It
give me
will
such
fix
hope.
itself. Yeah, it's amazing what your own body can do when given the right tools.
I mean, it's the opposite of what your body did to you on the other side. I mean, I don't know.
Yes, well, with the neuropathy and the feeling in that, you drain it for 44 years, and then all of a sudden, within 2 years, it all comes roaring back. I had a lot of pain in my hands. They felt like they were on fire for about 3 weeks, and I had no idea. I thought maybe it was the anti-rejection drugs that I was taking. And after doing some inquiries and speaking with other transplant recipients, this is the feeling that your nerves are gaining their feeling back and they're repairing themselves. And I actually could feel all my digits, and I could feel my toe, and my walking has improved. And I went through that little phase, and life is really exciting right now.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine how exciting it is for you. I mean, just to hear about this and to know that there is a possibility for me, a possibility for the here in the United States, approximately 1.25 million of us who have type 1. That it isn't, I mean, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to believe. I've been a diabetic now for 49 years, and of course been told from day one that, well, that cure was going to be only 5 years away.
Yeah.
I had to let the lights go on for myself because I was living a life that wasn't true. And once I finally got myself all set up to really say, all right, no, this is what it is and this is what it's going to be. Now it doesn't have to be. You might know this, I'm going to ask anyway. Do you have any idea the number of Edmonton I refer to it as the Edmonton Protocol as opposed to the City of Hope or whatever, but do you know how many implants or transplants rather have been done in Canada? Would you say it's in the thousands?
I am patient number 217, and the team last year had hit over 500 transplants. The week that I had my transplant, they had done 5. They could bang them out really fast. I'm not familiar with the numbers right now. I've been so busy at work that I've kind of lost track.
Those are numbers we can
But-
look up. I just think that, it's becoming more viable that people
Well-
come who have an interest, at least. There of course is City of Hope, as I've already mentioned, Edmonton. The Diabetes Research Institute in Florida is doing it with what they call the BioHub, as opposed to bringing the islets in through the portal vein and letting them disperse as they will into the liver. That they have designed what they call a BioHub. So this way they have cut out the need for immunosuppressive drugs.
Yes.
For,
And that's the Research Institute in Florida works very, very closely with the program in Edmonton.
yes, they
Edmonton is where the whole thing was pioneered.
do. Absolutely.
Most
Well,
of these
everything.
doctors have been into Edmonton to watch and learn, because it's a teaching hospital, and we don't want the money, we want the cure. The beautiful part about it is we have these different doctors, which are the best in the world all over, and everybody's trying something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm,
are doing it now with stem cells in Alberta, where we don't need immunosuppressants. And we have this, it's called the Velcilate patch. Now, I'm not really allowed to say how many patients that they've done and what the outcomes are. And of course, this takes time, but it's along the exact same line as what they are doing at the DRI and Dr. Ricordi. In fact, my doctor was out fishing with him not all that long ago when I was in Edmonton.
I happen to know,
about that.
and strangely enough, I know about that fishing trip. I don't even
Oh,
know
there you
why
go.
I know, but Dr. Ricordi told me about that.
Yes.
But for people like
and
myself, who, because of one reason or another, for me, it's cardiac issues, that I cannot, or they are unwilling to give me the immunosuppressive drugs. I, of course, am looking with expectation and joy into being able to be treated another way. I can't imagine what I mean.
I have to say that would be it's going to be very, very soon. Like I said, we've already started that program in Canada at the University of Alberta, Edmonton. And I've known these doctors there for quite some time, and I follow very closely. And every day there's a new breakthrough. And the research center there is absolutely amazing. I've toured all of it. I've been in the labs while they were doing the isolation of the islet cells. It's quite fascinating. I was very shocked at the size of a pancreas. I thought it was just the size of your thumb, but it's much larger. And but it's just, I see a lot of negative comments coming from diabetics, and I know exactly what you're saying. 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. Well, now it is going to be 5 years or less, and people just cannot give up hope, because 2 years of diabetes-free life for me is just, I'm just coming to terms with it now.
Yeah.
And, it's not like somebody just flips a switch and you go from dark to light. It takes a bit of adjusting. And, you do something the same for 44 years. It was, oh, I forgot to take my insulin with me. Oh, I can't eat that. Or it's a big switch.
Yeah, well, it's just a switch of life. I mean, other than that.
Well, I'm in the process of getting my pilot's license. We talked about this before. If I do, I'll be the first diabetic with type 1 diabetes to actually achieve that.
That's amazing.
So
you'll do it. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. You'll do it. I know this.
I'll work real hard at it.
Well, I hope so.
I love to push the boundaries, and when I went to see my doctor in Edmonton, I thought maybe he might be a bit upset with me, and they just loved it. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, nor would they, because they have to err on the side or go towards the side of caution. But I think they kind of knew the type of person that I was, and I'm brutally honest with them, and I tell them everything. And I've signed a contract with them for research. They can ask me for all kinds of things and get samples at any time that they want. And I said I'm available, because I'm such an amazing case. I want them to learn from what happened with me. Maybe I'm only a one of a kind, but I don't have any side effects from these anti-rejection drugs at all now. Nothing.
Well, bless you for that. Michael, this is an amazing story that you have, and I'm so pleased that you took the time to share this with us. We need to hear more of your stories and know more. Having said that, I know that you are on Facebook. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so people can read you on Facebook. Any place else they can go find out what's happening in the world of Michael Cole?
Well, I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram, although with the way life is right now, I'm so busy at work with making movies and television series. Um, it's just the best is just to go to Facebook. I post everything that's going on. Some of it's got nothing to do with diabetes, but it life is exciting for
Well,
me.
there is more to life than being a diabetic, I think.
Well, before I had
I
this
forget.
transplant, I was preparing for my funeral. And to share that information with your parents or your loved ones is really, really difficult. And I really didn't care about tomorrow much. And now I've got, holy smokes, I got 30 or 40 years ahead of me. I got some time to make up, and I'm going to go and have some fun because I don't have this heavy, heavy load. And I always believed that they could do something, and they've done it.
From your
Let's hope
mouth
that
to
they
all
do.
of our ears, that we can all be privy to something like this and see the end of type 1 diabetes.
Well, we got to start hitting the politicians and that. And I know that the systems for
That's
healthcare.
sort of a touchy spot right here, right
Oh,
now.
I know. We
Listen,
got to watch the Gong Show.
yeah. Sorry, I promised I wouldn't say anything nasty today.
But
What I do have to do, Michael, I'm sorry, but I have to cut our interview short and kind of get on with the business of the day. Thank you so much for sharing your information. I am going to be in touch with you and have you come back to us in a few months.
Absolutely.
Let us know how you're faring, what's going on, if I don't get to Vancouver first. By the way, thank you for the picture of my new studio. but for now, I'm here with UBN, and I'm still here in the United States.
We've got some big ones up here.
We'll try that. But thank you. Thank you so much for sitting in with me today.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me, Bonnie. It was a pleasure.
And mine. Now, if there are any T1s out there who would like to sit in that spot and be my Type 1 co-host, it's really very easy to do. All you need to do is write me at bonnie@bonniesher.com and tell me. I'll get in touch with you. We'll get you on the show. Tell us your story. We need to hear them. And it's really just that easy. Well, it's time for my shout out and shout down. My first shout out today is clearly to our president, Barack Obama, whose words and actions continue to inspire me every day. I am going to read his quote from yesterday, where he said, and I quote, "And that's why I'm confident that this incredible journey that we're on as Americans will go on. And I'm looking forward to doing everything that I can to make sure that the next president is successful in that. I have said before, I think of this job as being a relay runner. You take the baton, you run your best race, and hopefully by the time you hand it off, you're a little further ahead and you've made a little progress. I can say that we've done that. And I want to make sure that the handoff is well executed because ultimately we are all on the same team." Also, another quick shout out to Audrey Thompson, who was leading the protest on November the 14th at Eli Lilly, the protest over these ridiculously high prices of insulin. Go, Aubrey. We're excited. Now, as far as my shout down is concerned, I really didn't know what I wanted to say today. Yesterday I couldn't have spoken a word. But taking the lead from our president, I decided that I need to be honest with myself and honest with those of you who listen to me. I haven't forgotten, however, that Donald Trump, and actually these words aren't mine. I found this in a petition yesterday from Care to Action. And they wrote, Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States. He is won on a platform of hate, bigotry, xenophobia, homophobia, sexism, transphobia, Islamophobia, climate change denial, and anti-science rhetoric. To say we are disappointed is an understatement. All right, well, that's how I feel about this. If you have an opinion, please visit my blog at bonniesher.com /blog and sound off. Well, that's our show for today, and I hope that you'll return next week for another 50-minute long trip through the world of entertainment, through the world of baby boomers, and through the type 1 diabetes community. Until then, please visit bonniesher.com, follow the number 1 Bonnie Sher on Twitter, and like the Bonnie Sings Lena fan page on Facebook. Special note of thanks to Corey Bone of Crown and Anchor for outfitting me today with these lovely 2 necklaces. The shorter one is made of black spinel, all hand wired with 14 karat wire. And then this other darling little being is a diamond flower. And it's all done with the old-fashioned rose-cut diamonds, which is what allows it to sparkle and shine. And he outfits me with these in exchange for this promotional mention. Visit them online. You can find a link to them at the bottom of bonniesher.com, or you can go to Twitter and go to Crown and Anchor Jewelry. You can buy this too. His work is phenomenal. Go take a look. Well, for my friends old and new, you probably all know by now that I had a wonderfully warm and important relationship with Sammy Davis Jr. He was my friend and he was my mentor. And he played an enormous role in giving me a career. So in the fashion of Carol Burnett, here's a wink and a smile for you, Sammy. Take us out.